Hello race fans and welcome to Kentucky for round 12 of the 2018 AdPro Challenger Series. This is the Dirty Air Studios 200 and you're going to get to see it all here live on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi everyone, I'm Samuel Ryman and alongside me in the booth is Sean Ambrose. Behind the scenes we have our director Joe Beak, who's doing all of the button pushing using camera sets made by Ducky Beard. Sean, let's not lie, probably the most historic race that this state of Kentucky has to offer is the Kentucky Derby horse race, and as far as NASCAR tracks go, this Kentucky Speedway is one of the newer ones out there. However, even the Cup Series has now been running here for 8 years, and this track is beginning to make a name for itself and has had some interesting races in the past.
Sam, this track is famous because this is Sparta, Kentucky, this 1.5 mile track, a tri-oval speedway. You know, it actually is the largest excavation project in the history of the state of Kentucky. They displaced 7.2 million cubic yards of earth. The facility was constructed with 48,000 cubic yards of concrete, about the equivalent of a 50-story building. So this is a massive facility out here in Sparta, Kentucky. Now, on August 9th, 2010, Chairman and CEO Bruton Smith announces Kentucky Speedway's inaugural Sprint Cup Series 400-mile event, and that was the first race in 2011. Now, listen, over the years, they've repaved this track, but currently, iRacing has not gotten a rescan done here, so we're on the original surface. 14 degrees of banking in turns 1 and 2, 14 degrees of banking in turns 3 and 4. But the best way to get an idea what this place is really like is to jump on board the GSRC Chevrolet Camaro for a trip around Kentucky Speedway.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yasek, taking you for a spin around the Chicagoland Speedway in the GSRC Chevrolet Camaro B-Class car. Without further ado, here we go. For the hot lap, you're going to be bringing it right out here toward... Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yasek, taking you for a spin around Kentucky Motor Speedway in the GSRC Chevrolet SS. Kentucky is an old, worn-out, bumpy track that is sure to leave these drivers worn out at the end of the race. So, without further ado, let's just show you just how bumpy this place is. You can see, just going down the front stretch, it kind of feels like you're in a cement mixer of some variety. But, into turns 1 and 2, you want to ride this middle seam right here. If you go too low down there towards the yellow line, the car will step out on you in a heartbeat and not even think twice about it to regret it. Turn 3, use the started safer barrier as your braking point. Same situation here in 3 and 4. Run that middle groove, don't run all the way to the bottom, swinging it nice and high and wide off of the corner, back down the very bumpy front straightaway that it leaves your arms worn out from fighting with it. As the race progresses, you may see guys venture up here into this groove because it lets you get a good hole shot down the back stretch. But if you get in it too quick, just like me right there, you get a little close to the fence coming off the corner, so it's something worth watching. Turns 3 and 4, not a whole lot of upper groove. You might see guys straddle that second seam up there, but for the most part, bottom, God, you can just watch this car get loose. Back down the very bumpy front stretch, and that will complete your guide around the Kentucky Motor Speedway. With its old worn-out surface, it's actually getting replaced in real life, but not in the iRacing world. So, sure to leave these drivers worn out after fighting with these machines, especially with a newer, lower downforce package in these vehicles. So this has been your guide around Kentucky Motor Speedway. I'm Brian Yasek.
And there's a bad fast lap around Kentucky Speedway, folks. And race fans, tonight's race is brought to you by Dirty Air Studios. You know, Dirty Air Studios is a sim racing video production company, and they are here to bring you the best in online sim racing creative. Contact them. Everything from videos, logos, car liveries, and more. Find them on Facebook at Dirty Air Studios. Just type in Dirty Air Studios. You'll find them there, I promise. Get a hold of them. Their contact information is there.
And we thank Dirty Air Studios for coming on tonight. And Sponsoring this race that we're about to see, the drivers currently wrapping up qualifying. Kyle Kammer sitting on provisional pole. Kyle Kammer, notably one of the names that you will not see on our championship standings graphic here, Sean. But it is almost crunch time for the drivers who are competing for points because the playoffs not too far away.
True, Sam. True. The playoffs, they loom off in just the immediate distance here. And I'll tell you what, if we're going to look at the point standings, take a look at that real quick here. We've got 5 drivers locked into the playoffs. Gerald Campbell is the only driver with more than 1 win, Sam, and Gabriel Wood leads everybody in the season points, but is only 2 points ahead of Gerald Campbell, and of course 6 ahead of Mark Clewell. Now Wood and Clewell still remain winless, and you see old William Davis down there. Davis has 361 regular season points, but when the playoffs come, he'll have nothing to show for it. No better off than Josh Bonwell. And Josh, who's only made 2 starts, but jumped up 5 spots and now sits above the cut line.
Yeah, Bonwell only having made 2 starts so far, but in one of them he got a top 5 finish. Now, we have mentioned Gabe Wood. Of course, one of the top stories all season long is that he's most likely earned himself a place in the playoffs. However, he doesn't have a win yet. But let's not also overlook the fact that Mark Clewell and William Davis have been remarkably consistent this season, with both of them only having like 2 or 3 races apiece where they haven't finished in the top 10. But neither of them have scored a win yet either. You mentioned Gerald Campbell being one of the only drivers who has 2 wins this season. Richard Regan Jr. also has 2 wins. Of course, you don't see him on the graphic because he's not one of the drivers competing for points in this series. So a lot still up for grabs in these final 5 races before we do make the playoffs. Maybe not even points-wise, but just for bragging rights, Sean. They're going to the playoffs saying to the other drivers, hey, I'm a driver not only locked into these playoffs, but I'm out there and I'm able to win races.
Well, I tell you what, Gabe Wood really wants a win bad, and just seeing some comments from him, I think this could be his night. I'll tell you what, he seems determined. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on him. Let's look at the race details real quick and get those in here. Of course, this is round 12 of the regular season, Sam, including tonight. That's 5 races, like you said, until we get to the magical playoffs. This is the Xfinity Series cars, the Chevrolet, the Ford, and the Toyota. Setup's fixed, and I got to tell you, it's a bad, fast setup. Got to turn a few laps, and, there's a lot of grip out here tonight. So they get 5 sets. They start with the first set of tires on the car, and then 4 more sets to ride them out. You will be disqualified with 2 or more caused incidents. Green, white, checkered finish. Yes, we figured out how to do it, and it's a lot of fun. Maybe we'll get one tonight. We'll see, Sam. Haven't had a plethora of them this season, but between the Cup Series and the Challenger Series, we've seen it work really well.
Yeah, now you see the track is quiet right now. That's because they're having a drivers' meeting in the last 5 minutes of qualifying here. What that does mean is we can go out and give out our pole award here. The round 12 winner of the Sim Speed Shop pole award is the aforementioned Kyle Kammer in the number 88 car. For every 2 poles, the driver earns $5, and the driver with the most poles at the end of the season earns $20, courtesy of simspeedshop.com, which is a great place to order custom button boxes, as well as to buy and sell used equipment. For more information, go to simspeedshop.com. But I've got to be a bit honest here, Sean. I don't think Sim Speed Shop have had to write a whole lot of those $5 checks throughout this season. A lot of different drivers we've seen taking poles throughout the season, so a lot of drivers only having 1 pole position apiece so far.
Yeah, and you know what? Cammer, one of those getting on the pole, so he was fast right out of the box when they opened the session, even to practice. He went to the top of the practice board, and there he sat. So Cammer, definitely a driver here, might be poised for a good win tonight. But Sam, I think there's a lot of drivers in this field that could pull one out tonight. This is going to be, as we've seen several mile-and-a-half races already, this is going to be a little bit of strategy. Who can take care of the tires and who can make it to the end on that last set if you get to him. We wind up with green flag run throughout this entire race. It'll be a battle to see how long you can make those tires last. Can you make the tires outlast the fuel? That'll be the trick under a long green flag run.
And you do see at the top of the screen there, these conditions are quite cool, but that could hurt the tires in a way, Sean, because it just means those fast speeds you're talking about are going to be even faster under the lights here. And, the faster you go, the harder you're making the tires work in the corners.
Right. And so that's what we're going to have to watch out. And one thing I was trying to do was keep it down there on the bottom. It's really, really hard to keep the speed up down on that yellow line and without hurting those tires. And you get them in there too hot, you get them heated up. Of course, the push is real. And, boy, out of turn 4, that wall, just like a Texas Motor Speedway or a Charlotte, it comes up really, really quick. These tracks with the dog legs, man, you've really got to watch it. Saw a lot of guys tagging it coming out of 4. And, of course, that leads to Mr. Toad's wild ride through the grass and possibly into the pit lane. Which could be tragic and an end to your night hitting that concrete wall down on their inside, Sam. You don't get a fast repair here. If you really push the limits of this car early and too much, and you're going to probably pay for it.
So let's bring up another graphic for our new viewers to the series, and that is the race details. This race, it will be broken up into stages. The AdPro guys try and make these races as realistic as possible. And there you see, we're racing 132 laps tonight. The stages broke up into segments of 33 laps, and then 66 laps. And that's where fuel strategy normally comes into play, as well as tyre strategy in that final stage. Now, normally what we're used to seeing, Sean, is the first 2 stages are normally quite clean for these guys. But then that third stage, boy, we've seen a whole different bunch of racing play out.
Yeah, it certainly seems over the last several races that's kind of been the deal. The segments 1 and 2 have been pretty good, pretty solid, and then all of a sudden we get involved with all that yellow laundry in that third stage. Maybe tonight, maybe lessons learned here from the last several races. I have a feeling about this one tonight. Again, this is a fast track. It's wide. There's a lot of different grooves to run here. I think if drivers are aware of each other, I think they can stay out of trouble and give us a really great run.
You see in the top left corner of your screen, just 1 minute left on the clock of this qualifying session. We don't anticipate any more cars going out on track, and then these drivers will do grid up. They'll do 1 pace lap around here, and then they'll get set for that first 33 lap long stage. And you know what? I have a feeling we can go ahead and run down the starting order here. Because I'll tell you, the front row, it's Kyle Kammer, as we've documented, has pole position. Not by a whole heck of a lot, though. Just 1/100th of a second over Gabe Wood starting in second there, Sean.
Row 2 going to be Will Davis starting third tonight with a 30.9, and Jeff Martin will start on the outside of row 2.
Jeff Martin, a driver very familiar to this division, despite the fact he doesn't compete for points here. Josh Bomwell, he will be starting in 5th position, and lined up on the outside of him will be league organizer Gary Sexton.
All right, row 4. Well, we know both of these guys. Gerald Campbell starting 7th. Mark Clewell going to start on the outside in 8th.
Trey Galgon is one of the 5 drivers competing for points in this division who does have a win that has locked him into the playoffs. Starting alongside his outside will be John Theodore, who has shown to us quite recently he is not afraid to play the strategy card. Hasn't, I don't think it's resulted in a win for him yet, but we'll see if he can change that tonight.
All right, row 6 going to be Robert McFarlane and Ray Richer, who's already threatening to that someone's going to lose ahead of him. So I'm trying to figure out that.
Well, Eric Stanford will be starting in 13th place, and Michael D'Amico turned the slowest qualifying time, albeit only about 0.7 of a second off of Kyle Kammer. And you saw below them the names just rearranged when the session advanced from qualifying to race, as it sorted out those drivers in order who did not turn a time during qualifying, Sean.
Yeah, and that's going to be Andrew Payne, Adam Eisenhower, Scott Seaman, Donald Stewart, Stephen Parks, and Joe Johnson.
Rounding out a 20-car field here tonight, although currently Donald Stewart, Andrew Payne, and Scott Seaman are not in the server, and those 3 are actually being shown as good in now 18th, 19th, and 20th, so it might just be the top 17 cars on the grid who get to take a green flag here. However, we've seen a couple of races earlier this season, Sean, that have had fields a bit on the light side, but they've still put on fantastic shows for us.
Well, they have, Sam, and that's kind of the part of why I've got a feeling about this one tonight. Thin field, a lot of track to race on. This group pretty much sans a couple of guys, all really familiar with running with each other. I think we're going to get this one cranked up, and we're going to have a fun time tonight.
All right, cars rolling off of pit road. They're just going to do 1 pace lap around this 1.5 mile joint. And as we mentioned, the 88 starting on the low side, the 00 starting on the high side. Gabe Wood has already been asking in our YouTube chat, how do we think he will lose this race tonight? Well, we're running out of ways to see you pull that one off out there, Gabe. So hopefully the 00 will have a... Man, this doubling up of numbers seems like a good way to go there, Sean. Will Davis qualified 3rd in the 11 car. So, man, I might need to change to 63 on my machine.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's the Georgia contingent strong this evening with Wood, Davis, and Martin all starting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Ford Mustang pace car leading them through turns 3 and 4, but Kyle Kammer has already backed the field way up. He really wants to have control of this field for the start of a race, and he can get on that loud pedal as soon as he hits that start zone, and we'll see the green flag in the air. He brings them down at 60 miles an hour. Now the green flag is out, and we are racing here, Kentucky. I don't think Kammer got the jump that he wanted, though. Gabe Wood still right up on these doors. They're going to turn 1.
Yeah, Gabe got a great start there. Still at his door, coming around. Good momentum there off of 2. Watch out, here comes Will Davis.
Yeah, nice run by Gabe Wood. And he has already led 321 laps this season, coming around to lead lap 322 as they're 3 wide.
Oh, 3 right into 1. Watch out.
Nice power move by Will Davis, but I don't think it's going to work. He threw it in there, not going to stick on the exit. He loses a bit of momentum.
Watch out, here comes Josh Bonwell down on the bottom. He's going to make it 3 wide here in turns 3 and 4. Oh, Bonwell up gets 2 for 1 all the way up to 2nd.
These drivers having a lot of fun up front while these tyres are nice and fresh. Of course, they only have to make them last another 30 laps before that stage ending caution comes out. Oh. Nice battle going on back for 6 as well. Gerald Campbell just pulled it off ahead of Jeff Martin. Top 5, though, have broken away from 6 on back a bit. Well, not much.
Campbell's Mustang is on the move as he is reeling in Sexton here really quick. Sexton got the back door. Will Davis there. Davis after making a strong charge at the start, drop back a little bit.
So top 5 we mentioned are Wood, Bonwell, Kammer, Davis and Sexton. As you mentioned, Campbell has made it up to kind of make out a 6-car pack, breaking away from Jeff Martin in 7th on back. Martin could be challenged for position by Trey Galgan.
Yeah, Martin's already down 3 spots, did not get a great start to this race, and he is really being pressured by Trey Galgan right now. The Pennsylvania driver seems to be on point here early. Just behind them, Theodore Clewell, door-to-door down the backstretch.
Clewell in that Texaco Haviline painted car, a very hard car to miss in the number 65 machine. John Theodore in a 27 on the low side. They're still side by side. This costing them time to the pack in front.
That pack up front, Gerald Campbell starting to look very squirrely. He's taking a couple looks at Gary Sexton. Sexton may not have that position much longer. Just up in front of him, Will Davis dropping it down to the bottom. Almost trades a little paint with Kyle Cameron.
I think he did. Cameron tried to dive into the turn like Davis wasn't there. I have to imagine that he knew he was there.
Just had Gerald Campbell back there having to get out of the throttle a little bit as Cameron came right up in front of his car. And now Cameron and Sexton are door-to-door, and it looks like they trade a little bit of paint. Whoa.
Yeah, and Gerald Campbell. Now, Campbell, man, it's interesting seeing him get involved in all this racing because he told us at the end of a previous race that he's out there points racing right now. He knows that there's an incentive to have the most amount of regular season points at the end of round 16. You get some bonus points heading into the playoffs if you do that. And right now, Campbell is down 2 points on Gabe Wood in that category. So he is points racing against Gabe Wood.
Yeah, and well, I'll tell you what, Cameron driving really, really hard behind him.
The whole field of 17 cars currently covered by 4 seconds.
It's a shame we didn't get those other 3. Payne, Seaman, Stewart were no starts.
And the battle on for second, Will Davis looking underneath John Bonwell. These were 2 drivers who basically shot out of a cannon right at the start, making aggressive moves before lap 2 was even in the books.
Yeah, you know what? I think that second position, we're going to see that continue to go back and forth between these 2. As long as they can keep pace over Gary Sexton, but I don't know, man. This group behind him now. Oh, look, Cameron now starting to make move on the inside there. Gerald Campbell. Oh, and boy, I'll tell you what, Cameron was a little bit loose off there, maybe a little tight actually.
Yeah, we mentioned Cameron's not competing in this championship, so he's just here for the win. Maybe that's why he's been a bit aggressive in the opening stages here, and drivers around him might want to be aware of that.
Well, Sam, I like what I'm seeing so far. Great racing up here at the front, but Gabe Wood, nobody's got anything for him here yet. A couple of drivers struggling, though. That would be Cameron, who's lost so many spots here early after qualifying on the pole. Jeff Martin, still 3 spots down from where he started. Adam Eisenhower back there has worked his way up to the top 10, picking up 5 spots after starting there in 15th.
Another driver who's +5 from the start is the 18 machine of Joe Johnson, running back in 12th. He started 17th. He didn't turn a lap during qualifying, so he's just trying to navigate his way through the field.
Joe Johnson getting a run on John Theodore, actually. Johnson in the Toyota Camry. is on camera. The Dirty Air Studios Toyota Camry.
Meanwhile, things starting to get dicey for P3. Gary Sexton was looking underneath Josh Bonwell, and as a result, he actually almost lost a spot to Gerald Campbell. Campbell thought about making a move on the high side to get by Sexton, but nothing happened. They all stay single file, and I think Bonwell's starting to hold up a bit of a train, and some of those cars behind him might be starting to get a bit impatient.
Tell you what, I think Sexton's car is starting to look a little free. And that's not good with Gerald Campbell all over your bumper like that. Campbell's got to worry about Kyle Cameron, who's pressing hard. He really wants to get back up into this mix. Now they're starting to get a little bit of a run at Josh Bonwell.
Meanwhile, Gabe Wood, our race leader, has got to worry about Will Davis a little bit. The 11 cars ran him down trying to find a way by.
Yeah, I don't think Gabe's going to give it to him. I really don't. He's going to have to just really get he is in the draft right now, maybe down the back stretch, but he's got to be a little bit closer than that off the turn. It's only a 1.5 mile track, Sam. That back straightaway runs out quick.
Yes, there's a lot of 1.5 mile tracks out there in NASCAR, Sean. What really makes this one unique from the rest, in your opinion?
I think the multiple grooves of racing, honestly. Now, I think the reason they repaved it was because they wanted to change the banking a little bit. But I think it's the multiple grooves, Sam. I think you can really put this car anywhere and be fast over a run. It's what's best for the driver style and the car. You see Josh Bonwell riding it kind of high up there. Now he's been in the top 3 for most of this race. Look at the momentum he gets there on the outside in front of Gary Sexton, who again, his car is still looking a bit free, and Gerald Campbell still threatening.
I think I'm seeing a couple of blinks from Bonwell's number 56 machine. That's just where his internet connection's playing up a little bit. Nothing huge. Talk about huge. 2 cars. Jeff Martin down in the wall on the back straight. 2 cars were way off down there.
I think I wonder if Trey Galgan was one of them. Galgan really slow, and I'm seeing some damage on the right side of the car. Here's a replay. That's Galgan on in the 49 on the inside, Martin in the 15 up top. Oh, that was contact, Sam. Great catch by Martin, though. Whew.
Yeah, nice save, nice drive in there, and we stay on the green. That drops Martin to the back of a pack, though, and pretty much last place, except for Robert McFarland, running 17th. Because that's really the only incident we've seen so far.
Bonwell's lost 3 positions here, Sam. Well, we've been off on that. Everybody's gotten by him. Sexton, Campbell, Cammer.
And I'm not surprised too much, Sean, for 2 reasons. One is it looked like Bonwell's car was beginning to go off the pace a bit, was holding up a train. Secondly, though, the fact he was having those internet connection issues, I wonder if he felt it was just a bit too dangerous in his current situation to be racing others that close.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that might have been the case. No telling what he may have been seeing or not seeing on his monitor. So good job there, Bonwell, keeping the car on track and still staying right just outside the top 5. Move up front, though, boy. Cammer looking to the inside of Gerald Campbell. He took a peek there going into 4, backed out of it. Now he's going to drop all the way down to the apron. Got to be careful on that apron right there, Sam, because the grass comes up real quick there at the end. It runs out on you. You don't make that transition quick, you're going to be riding through the grass and lose grip, obviously.
One thing I was a bit curious about, Sean, with Bonwell losing those positions is with all those cars that have been bottled up behind him, would they be able to run Wood and Davis down? Well, actually, they're running about the same times as them. And in fact, Gabe Wood has actually pulled away, well, he had pulled away a little bit from Will Davis. Davis ran him back down that lap around. Oh, my contact between Cammer coming down on Gerald Campbell.
Wow.
I don't think that's the first time we've seen Cammer make a move like that tonight.
What a move by Campbell. Jeez, he's able to save it. Cammer crosses him over. Now is on the bottom. You got Campbell caught up top. Bonwell, here comes Clewell trying to throw it into the middle.
Kyle Cammer able to escape all of this for now as the battle is on for 5th place between Campbell and Bonwell. Mark Clewell sitting in the catbird seat.
Don't look now. 10 laps to go to the end of the stage.
I guess it's not really a catbird seat, is it? That's just a popcorn position back there.
Now, you talked about Wood maybe trying to pull away a little bit. Will Davis not having any of it. He's still dead in his tracks. Gary Sexton doing a really good job of keeping up.
Yeah, I feel like Sexton has been improving as a driver in the past few races. His results have been quite strong recently, or at least his performances.
Clewell back here starting to make a charge towards the top 5. He's going to get side by side with Gerald Campbell. Down the front straight here. Not really a straight, the front dog leg. Tri-oval. There we go. Now Clewell going to try and complete this pass. Campbell going to fight back on the top side.
So battle on for 4th, battle on for 6th. Cameron not afraid when there's a car underneath him. It seems to not give the car underneath him a whole lot of room. This time able to hold off Bonwell with a better run on that high side. Campbell and Clewell still side by side as they complete lap 25.
Clewell still trying to complete this pass. He finally does. Gerald Campbell gives up just a bit. Maybe not. Coming off of 2. Campbell's got a really, really good run at him. Maybe not enough to catch him into turn 3. I think Clewell's going to be safe for at least a couple laps here as he starts to try and close the gap on Josh Bonwell.
Just 7 laps left to go to the end of the stage as they come across the line, and Gabe Wood has not just 1 but 2 cars behind him to worry about now for the lead and the win of this stage, and some bonus points heading into the playoffs. And those are Will Davis and Gary Sexton.
Well, on board with Sexton now, following Will Davis.
Will Davis, one of those drivers who doesn't have any playoff points yet. He'll probably make a playoffs, but things won't be looking too hot for him unless he can get a couple of stage wins. So this is kind of important for him here.
And they are scrambling to get into the top 10 back here. John Theodore sitting in 9th. He's got Stanford right behind him. Trey Galgan still trying to pick up a couple of spots. Joe Johnson there. This has been nuts. A real hornet's nest.
Trey Galgan trying to recover from that incident with Jeff Martin earlier. Of course, Jeff Martin got the worst of it, but I'm sure Galgan's car isn't handling up to par right now either. He's the one just on the outside looking in. Eric Stanford currently holding that 10th position.
Yeah, and Stanford had to work every bit to get it. He's up 3 spots there and putting a lot of pressure on Theodore here. Ooh, he's going to try and get to the bottom here down the backstretch. He's got the nose in. Woohoo! He's got it back at it, but there. Car's got to be feeling really, really pushy here at the end of this run.
Yeah, lap times throughout the field, Sean, right now. Pretty much everyone running 1.5 seconds slower than they were at the start of the race.
Well, look at Joe Johnson just behind him, trying to get the spot away from Galgan. But Galgan just seems to be struggling a little bit this evening. Of course, that right front damage not helping his car turn.
But as these two battle hard for 11th, that allows Theodore and Stanford to pull away a bit. If I was Stanford, I wouldn't be racing Theodore too hard right here. You know, just try and keep it single file, keeping that 10th place. Of course, Stanford, though, these stage points won't mean a whole lot to. He's not competing for points in this division.
Yes, and Theodore
is, yeah. All right, so here come the leaders. 2 laps left to go to the end of the stage.
You wonder how hard they're going to battle or be content with where they're at. Sexton with the white windshield banner means he's not competing for points here. Those 2 in front of him, I don't see Sexton trying to make a move on these 2. Not unless they open the door for him, but I just don't think Gabe Wood's going to let. I just don't think he's going to let him by. I said that several laps ago, and I think that remains the same. They're going to get the white flag here to the end of the segment now.
Yeah, Gabe Wood, as we mentioned, battling Gerald Campbell for most amount of regular season points. He would score 15 more points heading into the playoffs if he's able to hold on to those regular season points lead. He's got 4 races left, even after tonight's race, to be able to pull that off. Well, one thing that's for sure, Gabe Wood is about to come around and complete lap 33 in front of the rest of the field and take some bonus points here for winning the opening stage ahead of Will Davis, Gary Sexton, Kyle Kammer, Mark Clewell, Josh Bonwell, Gerald Campbell, Adam Eisenhower in 8th, Eric Stanford, and John Theodore rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, that was a good opening segment right there. The pace, just brutal right now. Really, the tire fall off over those 33 laps, Sam. I really only saw maybe about 2 seconds difference in times.
Still, I have a feeling that means you're going to want to take 4 fresh good years on this under this first caution.
Yes, you do. Don't be that guy.
I'm just impressed, Sean, that despite several instances of contact throughout the stage, all 17 cars that started this race were covered by 15 seconds by the end of those 33 laps.
Yeah, it's good, some really good racing out there. A lot of skill exhibited there. We saw a couple of dust-ups that could have just ended miserably, and drivers do a good job to keep the cars on the track and avoid any caution flag during that first segment. Trad Galgan will be the one looking to get a little bit repaired on that car when he comes down. Stay a little bit longer in the box, get your repair. You still have 2 segments to get yourself to the front.
And of course, there should be a quick yellow without us having any lap down cars. Easy this season we've seen for these drivers to overshoot their pit stalls when the competition is this close. Looks like most of the front runners hit it okay, though.
Ooh. And Kammer was really close to going just a little bit over. I mean, he's practically right under his board there, his marker board. And, yep, Gabe Wood's going to get out first.
And Kyle Kammer, despite the fact that he was mired back in 4th position coming into the pits, is going to come off pit road in 2nd. Since he had pole, he had that desired first pit stall.
And Sam, for all the trouble I just gave him about getting into the pit box, it was about as perfect a pit stop as you can make.
All right, and here's a quick look here, Sean, at how these points work out.
Right, Sam. Race winner's going to get 43 points. It decreases 1 point for each position back. Now, the stage winner got 10 points. That's, of course, Gabe Wood. He's going to get those extra 10 points, and that decreases 1 point each position back to 10th, of course. Now, interesting development there while we were talking about that. Gerald Campbell giving an end-of-line penalty. He drove through too many pit stalls.
and since he's going to be starting from the back anyway, Campbell opting to come back into the pits. Now, I doubt, of course, he'll take an extra set of tyres because they're limited on the amount of tyres for the race, but might go ahead and top off with fuel. Oh, I guess I don't even know what the advantage to that would be, Sean. They're all guaranteed a caution on lap 66.
You know, I think that was just an easier option for him to come in and, you know, maybe he had a bit of damage that needed a little bit of attention. I don't know.
That is true. He did have a contact with Kyle Kammer earlier on. Michael D'Amico has also been given the same penalty for the same reason. He'll have to restart from the tail end of the field. Michael D'Amico was running towards the tail end of the field anyway. But even then, Sean, that's not to say we won't see him up front later on, given how close all of these drivers have been and how much racing we still have left to go. Pace car, once again for the second time tonight, heads into the pits. This time it's Gabe Wood, leading them back to green, and he gets a nice trump over Kammer.
Boy, he really did. Kammer fell asleep a bit on that one, and boy, Will Davis takes advantage of it down there at the bottom, getting in his little piece of real estate there. Here comes Gary Sexton.
Kammer able to power out of that high line. It seems that the high line might actually not be a bad place to be on the starts of these things. However, Gabe Wood chose to start this race on the inside lane and was able to get enough of a jump over Kammer that he'll have no trouble leading lap 38. Gerald Campbell back into the pits.
All right, something's amiss with Campbell's car then that we're not aware of. There's gotta be a reason.
Robert McFarland is very slow on track, Sean. I wonder if they made contact.
Oh, Robert McFarland actually, as Campbell was getting off, I think McFarland made contact maybe? Coming out of turn 4, he was right beside... Oh, no, the car snapped on him. Wow, out of turn 4, we've got a replay of it. Car snapped on him. The field was in front of him, Sam. It brought no caution flag out. He was able to get it straight into the pit. Actually, that's odd. He tried to keep it on track.
Yeah,
he's going to keep going.
Surprising that didn't bring out a caution. But yeah, Robert McFarland keeps going. He's still on the lead lap. I don't know for how much longer, though, with that damage that he got. Battle 1 for second. Will Davis versus Kyle Kammer.
A little confused there. He was right there at the pit entrance. He could have gone in and got that damage repaired. Or at least attempted to.
But maybe he's thinking, Sean... Well, even if he goes a lap down, he's going to have to fight Gerald Campbell for the lucky dog position now, because Campbell's a lap down.
Sam, he hit hard. That car is not up to speed at all. He is struggling in the middle of the track right now, and those cars are going to catch him really quick.
And this battle for second is going to be a bit dicey. He's going to have to watch out for that, because as you mentioned, that's probably coming this lap, and these leaders are going to catch that battered car of Robert McFarland. Gabe Wood has been able to pull out almost a second lead over this Kammer and Davis battle for second.
Boy, it's a good one indeed. Davis holding it down there on the bottom. Kammer's still finding a really good way to make that car run off the top.
And McFarland does bring 41 in for repairs. Sexton, much like he did do in the opening stage, hanging strong here in the top 5.
Will Davis going to try to go up top here, Sam?
Yeah, this is going to be a little frustrating for Sexton, because now these two battling for second in front of him is holding him up. It's allowing Stanford, Bomwell, Eisenhower, and Clewell to all run them down.
Yeah, boy, Stanford struggling in that first segment a little bit further back in the pack is now in this mix. He started 13th in this race. I think he's going to like where he's at right now. But they are battling hard in front of McCammer again, running close. Almost making contact there with Will Davis. Cameron been running these guys tight tonight, Sam.
Yeah, two completely different stories out there. I mean, well, I guess not, because Will Davis, even though, yeah, he's racing for points, he's pretty much, you know, looking good, pretty much locked his way into a playoff position. So he's just thinking about the win too, something he has yet to get this season, although if he was able to do it tonight or any other night this season, I think it would be a well-deserved victory given how consistent he is. Now, Davis has finally won this battle over Kammer, and as I say that, Kammer closes right back in on the rear bump on him. I have a feeling Kammer could be sitting in a bad spot here because he's going to have burned his tyres off a lot more than the cars on his tail.
Yeah, and Sexton may look to try and take advantage of this. As sure as I say that, Cameron drops back down low, tries to get another run here at Davis. Nothing doing. And now that they've broken up just a bit, this may be an opportunity for Gary Sexton to get that spot.
Michael D'Amico making an unscheduled stop, so not necessarily attrition playing a role in the second stage, but some drivers definitely falling into a bit of misfortune. And man, all the drivers' misfortune right now is the fact they're over a full second back of Gabe Wood.
Yeah, let's look at this battle for ninth. Director's gone there. Galgan, Theodore, Jeff Martin. It's been a little crazy. Galgan is the one who just went up to that ninth spot. You see Martin working down at the bottom. He's going to come up the track a little bit. Theodore doing a good job of hanging on and keeping it close.
Galgan and Martin were the two that tangled earlier. John Theodore is holding his own in 10th place right now on that high side.
Boy, and Martin down there doing exactly what I talked about earlier. Boy, got really, really close to clipping that grass as he transitioned back up to the track, Sam. You flirt with it too much, you might end your race. I haven't seen anybody do it yet, but I certainly managed to clip it a couple times in practice, just trying to get every ounce of speed out of the car I could. Stephen Parks coming down pit lane. Looks like he might have had a little trouble on the right front. Maybe got some contact out there.
Yeah, it's a shame. Parks had been holding steady. I mean, we hadn't talked about him a whole lot. He was sitting outside the top 10, but he was, you know, keeping it clean for the first half of this race. Ready to pounce there during the third stage should things fall his way, but definitely not falling his way right now. I'm sure, well, there's not going to be a battle for the lucky dog at this stage right now because Michael D'Amico and Robert McFarland have fallen multiple laps down. Gerald Campbell, the only car, 1 lap down. Battle for second, heaving up again.
Yeah, it really is. You've got Cameron still applying a lot of pressure here to Will Davis, trying to rattle him. It hasn't worked yet. And here you see him make up all that distance right there in the center of the turn. That's where he's able to get the car to really handle for him. Gets a great run off the exit of 4. Will Davis drops all the way to the apron, and you see the net result is a loss right there. Cameron having to get out of it a little bit, almost makes contact in the rear bumper of Will Davis.
Coming to 14 laps left to go to the end of stage 2 this time by. Stage 2 will finish at the completion of lap 66. These cars already burning off the good on their good years, about a second almost off the pace what they were at the start of the run. Davis and Cameron, despite their hard racing, still able to hold on to second and third quite solidly right now.
Yeah, it's the most excited person right now in the building. It's got to be Gary Sexton because they continue to race really, really hard, use up their cars, and Sexton just waiting for something to trigger here. He's got to probably feel like it's a ticking time bomb in front of him. He's waiting to make an evasive move that'll get him to the second spot.
I don't know if he's been waiting, Sean. He's definitely shown tonight he's not afraid to make a move just when the opportunity presents itself, and Davis going defensive on the back straight.
No, watch out, camera right there.
Here they go through the dog leg side by side. Camera, is he going to use the apron? No, he's going to go right down to it. Sexton trying to use his toe.
Sam, a little report from the pits. I do see that Michael D'Amico has parked his car, unfortunately, for the night. Everybody else still in the race. We've still got 16 running out of here.
Yeah, 13 cars still on the lead lap. Gerald Campbell currently sitting in the lucky dog position with the next caution. 11 laps away at most. We could always see one before then, of course. If we do, it could very easily come from this battle for second. The amount of trouble that Davis and Cam have been giving each other during this second stage.
Campbell's problem right now is, Sam, is that is he a lap down? Okay, he's a lap down. I thought he was 2 laps down. So the end of this stage should get him that lead lap again and a chance to fight in the third segment.
So currently, Gabe Wood leading, Will Davis, Carl Kammer, Gary Sexton and Eric Stanford holding his own in 5th place. Haven't mentioned a whole lot about him, but still having a strong run. Mark Clewell, Adam Eisenhower and Josh Bonwell. Actually a good battle for 7th going on right now between Adam Eisenhower and Josh Bonwell.
Yep, Bonwell getting a little bit better here deeper into the run after struggling early. It's a good side-by-side battle here, him and Eisenhower. Bonwell holds onto it on the bottom. Bonwell with a little bit of momentum off the turn, and he's going to clear him down the backstretch.
Eisenhower's had a very interesting championship. He locked himself into the playoffs straight off the bat, winning Daytona. And then he seemed to be a top 10 car here in his rookie season for the opening few rounds of the season. Then, though, slowly in the recent races, he's establishing himself more often as a top 5 car. Unfortunately, Sean, in recent rounds, has been unable to seal the deal, has been getting involved in a lot of late trouble. So far, though, he's kept that 86 clean, knock on wood, because Bonwell is racing him hard here.
Yes, he is. These two both fighting for points, desperate points here as we start to close in on the end of stage 2.
And now that they've gotten single file, Davis and Kammer have ate into a few tenths of Gabe Wood's lead. However, with only 6.5 laps left to go to the end of the stage, I don't think we'll see that P1 spot changing.
No, I don't think so, Sam. I don't think so. Boy, but these two keep it interesting here to the end of the stage. 6 laps to go. Man, it's going to be practically get dead heat across the line. And boy, Bonwell comes down across the bow of Eisenhower.
Yeah, the battle for 4th heating up as well. Mark Clewell was 6th at the completion of lap number 59. At the completion of lap 60, he was almost up into 4th in that number 65 Texaco car.
Listen, we know Clewell's fast. Just took him a little while to get things sorted out. He's right where he wants to be now. Boy, I think he's looking to pull off a pass here on Sexton. He's going to try to drop to the bottom. Maybe started that turn a little bit late. Didn't allow him to get all the way down there. Boy, but he's going to get a good run right off the bumper and carry here.
Yeah, but is he able to make a pass down low? This track, of course, has had a lot of rubber put into it since the start of the race now.
We got the Dirty Air Studios Toyota leading the Haviland Ford. Clewell with a pretty good amount of damage on the right side of that car, too, Sam. A little surprised that he's still as competitive as he is. That car's still got a little bit left in it, but it may be all for naught. We're running out of time here. It'll be 3 laps to go here at the line.
Yeah, and if these two battle too hard, Stanford is back in 6th place to take advantage. Meanwhile, I'll take back what I said about Davis being too far back of Gabe Wood. He has been eaten into that lead pretty substantially. That time around, he took two tenths of a second out of it. And we'll see if Wood's able to hold on.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Gabe's just taking care of the car right now. We know how desperately he wants to get a win tonight, Sam. I think he's just playing it safe. No reason to drive over the limit.
And Clewell goes underneath Sexton. Sexton, I mean, he's going to run him close on the exit of the corner there, but it's almost like he gave Clewell the entry of that corner.
No, not Clewell. Car loses a little bit of momentum there. Sexton going to fight back. Got the position on the inside here down the backstretch, going into 3. Keeping it down there really well. Does he have the speed? Can he keep the momentum up? Not enough.
Final lap of the stage starts now. Remember the caution, per normal, will wave once the 10th car has crossed the start-finish line. These drivers will keep their foots on the loud pedal as they come across the line. Looks like Wood will be able to hold on to it, albeit not by much over Davis.
Here comes Clewell.
Third.
Wow, he picks him off there. Cameron going to fight back.
And let's see, I think Cameron's going to edge him by the line, and when the caution flies, it'll be Cameron in 3rd position. And what's really significant about that, Sean, is remember, Cameron got pole. He has that first pit stall. He's coming into pit road 3rd. How many spots can he pick up?
Yeah, we'll see. He had a perfect pit stop last time. If he can pull that off again, he may come out in front of everybody here. We'll see. Boy, what a great late charge by Clewell, though. He sure gave it a shot there on that last lap. Comes up a little bit short, but still going to pick up those good bonus points there. And, well, I'm sorry, Clewell not running for the points in this series. So, but again, a good late charge by him in that Haviland Ford. This pit stop will hopefully yield a little bit of repair on that right front for him.
And bad news for Gabe Wood, for Dreville Campbell fans. He will not get the lucky dog. The first car 1 lap down at the time of caution is Stephen Parks.
Not sure what happened there. We obviously lost sight of it. That's going to really, really sting.
All right, pit road going to be open for the lead lap cars this time by. Wood going to lead. Davis, Kammer, Clewell, Sexton in top 5. Stanford, Bonwell, Eisenhower, Galgan, and Martin top 10.
Pit road going to be a very, very busy place. Gabe Wood's going to lead him down. Watch Cameron back in that 3rd spot as they make their way in here. Again, as Sam mentioned, he's got that #1 spot up front. A great pit stop last time. Can he get it out front? Oh, and he overshot it that time. Cameron overshoots it. He's still not in his box.
Not good.
Oh,
no. Wow, still bad.
No. Big trouble for Kyle Cameron, and they're already starting to come out. He still hasn't gotten service yet.
Wood's not going to win it. Will Davis is off pit road first.
Bonwell had a fight there with Adam Eisenhower coming out. I think Bonwell's going to get it.
So Gabe Wood Will Davis leads Gabe Wood, Gary Sexton, Eric Stanford, and Josh Bonwell will be your top 5 on the restart. Let's take a look at how the playoff points work here, Sean.
All right, so the playoff field size is going to be 12 drivers. A regular season win get you in there, of course, and you have to be in the top 30, the regular season points. Now, the carryover playoff points, you get 15 points for being the regular season champ. You get 5 points for a regular season race win. That's why these wins are so important. And, of course, for winning stages, you get an additional point towards your total championship season points total.
Sean Clewell must have overshot his pit stall because he came in 4th. He's currently being shown 9th.
Yeah, he must have had trouble in the box as well, Sam. I feel like maybe I jinxed Kyle Kammerer, talked about how great that last pit stop was, and that just, boy, what an inopportune time. He was looking to get back out front. Now he's going to restart the race in 13th.
Well, you see, the lap down cars came into the pits at the end of a previous lap. Gerald Campbell was not one of them. He's going to take a risk here of getting the wave around and hoping for a quick caution, which I guess it does save a set of tyres, Sean, because the other strategy would be, I mean, if you're hoping for a quick caution anyway, just stay a lap down, you know, get your tyres now, stay a lap down, you'll get the wave around when the next caution flies. Of course, the disadvantage to that strategy is when you're back on the lead lap, you'll have older tyres.
Well, Sam, listen, he can probably get about 15 to 18 more laps out of that tank of fuel in the car. Obviously, he's rolling the dice here. He's hoping for a little something, so we'll see what happens when we get restarted. There he goes, past the pace car. He'll line up at the back of the field, and he'll be back on the lead lap, Sam.
Will Davis choosing the low line for the restart, much like Gabe Wood did at the start of stage number 2, despite the fact that if the driver on the high side is able to get a good start, it looks like the high line is actually the desired place to be heading into turns 1 and 2 on the restart here. Will Davis is really going to want to hope, I think, that he has turn 1 and 2 to himself. If Wood is able to get a good restart here and hand on Davis outside, I don't know who could be leading in 1 lap time.
Well, Wood's done really, really good job on the restarts this evening. Well, the start of the race and the end of the first stage going into stage 2. Let's see if he can match that performance here.
Pace car about to turn off. Will Davis doing like Kyle Kammerer did at the start of the race and leaving the pace car a lot of room on his own. And Davis goes early. Gabe Wood gets a decent start, but Davis will have the track to himself.
Boy, and they're already trying to go 3 wide just behind him. Everybody settles down. Wood's going to go ahead and get by Sexton.
Cromwell moves up into 4th place, and much like we saw him doing at the start of the race, he's going to be aggressive on those new tyres.
He's being aggressive. Josh Bonwell being aggressive here early. Trying to get around Gary Sexton. It's stacking up behind him there. For a second it did. Stanford and Eisenhower almost got together, but Stanford clears Eisenhower. Those are our 2 big movers of the race, Sam. Both up 8 and 9 spots there. Stanford and Eisenhower, they find themselves fighting for a top 5 spot now.
Kyle Kammerer yet to make any inroads on his restart. I was curious to see if he was able to pass a few cars. I'm sure it will come eventually, just not yet.
Yeah, Kammerer right now side by side with Ray Richer. You see them back there. There we go. They just passed by us.
So that's for 11th. All right, Gabe Wood all over the back of Will Davis. Now, even though, as we keep mentioning, we've harped on it every race this season, that Wood has led a bunch of laps, but never the last one. The same can be said for Will Davis. Will Davis, a regular front runner, has yet to score a win this season.
Yeah, these two both really got high hopes. They're shooting for the stars tonight here, under the stars in Kentucky.
lap 75 in the books. Of course, these drivers have 2 sets of Goodyear Eagles left, I believe. And well, we'll wait and see how the cautions fall, if there are any cautions, how they use them. They will have to use at least one more set of them when they come in to get fuel for the end of the race.
Clewell here having a good battle with Trey Galgan early in this run here. Clewell trying to establish himself, get himself up to the top 5. Galgan fighting back though. Well, making a high groove work again.
Let's not forget that's where Clewell was not too long ago, and he had that bad pit stop under the previous caution that has dropped him back here. Galgan has been trying to rebound all night long from his contact with Will Davis early on. Sorry, that wasn't Will Davis, that was Jeff Martin. Meanwhile, Gerald Campbell fans, he is currently just circulating the track right now, hoping for a quick caution. Unfortunately, Sean, even though things have been a little bit rough up front, they're all running single file right now, though things getting dicey around 8th place again.
Sam, let's give a quick update on the gamble Gerald Campbell took. We did. I'm sorry. My head not in the right place. We'll have to get that on. We'll have to get that on the blooper reel, Sam. I hope you can recover from that.
I'm just watching the drivers running up front. We've documented Stanford and Eisenhower being 2 of our biggest movers all night long. They're up there running in 5th and 6th right now. Actually, I think that's the highest Eisenhower has been all night long. We mentioned Trey Galgan a little while ago and how he's kind of recovering from his battle with Jeff Martin earlier. Well, this is the highest we've really seen Jeff Martin since he almost wrecked on the back straight. Currently running in 7th, thinking about taking 6th from Eisenhower.
Yeah, listen, the 15 has not been bad this evening. He's found himself battling with Eisenhower quite a bit. A couple of Chevrolet Camaros there, side by side. Eisenhower in that Sims Speed Shop neon green and blue machine. Martin in the red, white, and blue of the NRA. Oh, sorry, he's in the iRacing car on screen. Missed that. There we go. There's the 15. Sam, they've kind of strung out here just a bit on us early on into this run here, the third and final stage.
Well, I'm looking at the intervals though, Sean. Yes, they definitely appear to be strung out. They're all running single file with a bit of a gap between each other, but never much of a gap. I mean, even our battle for the lead, Davis is only holding 0.2 of a second over Gabe Wood. So yeah, sure, they might not be battling each other, but all it would take is a simple mistake from Davis or for anyone in the field, and they'll lose a couple of positions.
Yeah, I don't know that Gabe's pushing too hard here. Obviously, we know they're going to need one stop in this stage, whether it be by caution or whether it be by just running out of fuel, needing to come in and get the fuel. But I think Wood's just soft shoeing it right now. I think he's happy where he's at. Sexton doesn't seem to be the one pressing too hard back there. He is riding in third, pretty comfortable. Bonwell, of course, has struggled all evening deeper into middle way through the run. He's been strong deeper in the run, so maybe here at some point Sexton will have to get on his horse to hold off Bonwell. But that's the way the top 4 sit right now. And again, I think Gabe Wood's sitting right about where he'd like to be.
And of course, one thing that will please Gabe Wood, well, I don't think anything will please Gabe Wood if he's not able to win tonight. But one thing that should please him is he's having a good points day right now over Gerald Campbell, who's got to be running on fumes soon. Now, if Campbell does come in soon, Sean, which I think will have to happen, His hope is that the race goes green to the end, because then everyone has to make a green flag pit stop.
Right. Exactly. And you know what? Campbell still out there getting it done. 46 laps. Working on that 46 lap now around the track. That would be as far as anyone's gone so far tonight. His pace, well, it's about a second off.
Which is to be expected considering the age of his tires.
But now we got some side-by-side racing here. Clewell back at it with Trey Galgan. Clewell's name just keeps coming up tonight. The Haviland Ford still looking strong. That's right where he started there in 8th place. Starting to get a little bit of a run here to Adam Eisenhower.
Yeah, Eisenhower still running 7th. He lost that spot to Jeff Martin not too long ago. See if Martin's able to eat into any of that half a second gap between himself and Stanford up there running in 5th place. Stanford very quiet tonight. And we go back up front here. Gabe Wood has dropped back a second of Will Davis. Now, could this be Davis pushing it harder, or is Wood saving?
I'll tell you what, their lap time's not much, well, separated by about 2/10 last time. Maybe Davis is pushing just a bit.
Maybe Davis is thinking of splitting this final stage in half, Sean, as Gerald Campbell comes into the pits. If you're going to split this second stage in half, you'll be pitting in about 10 laps time. Maybe Davis is thinking he might as well burn everything these tyres have to offer off in the next 10 laps. Just go out there, set qualifying laps, pull away from Gabe Wood, and then get a new set of tyres that he'll take care of to the check-ins.
Could be, Sam. I don't know, there could be a couple different strategies at play here. But right now, we're kind of in a situation that at the beginning of the race I talked about where, you might wind up with an extra set of tires in the pits.
And it sounds like Gerald Campbell is actually calling it a night, Sean.
Well, that's a shame.
Not going to help him in that points fight against Gabe Wood.
No, it's not. Davis now out to about a second and a half. Clewell and Eisenhower are still back here going side by side around the track. Maybe a dozen laps now, Sam. They've been just hooked up, and Trey Galgan back there can't do anything about it.
Well, two of the most recognizable cars out there on the racetrack. I even have a fear that our good friend Bill Zahn wouldn't have much difficulty spotting these cars out. And man, they're giving the fans there, all 231 residents in, as Gabe Wood comes into the pits. So, was that planned, or was that in a response to him dropping off of Will Davis? He might have been thinking, well, Davis has the pace now, I'm going to come in and get some tyres. Bonwell, very slow out of turn 2.
I think Bonwell might have had a scary moment. Let's ride on board here.
Oh, a lot of stuff.
Sexton on the outside.
Yeah, a lot of stuff just happened in the course of a minute. Found out what happened to Gerald Campbell. He actually lost the connection.
A little bit of the apron, and that was not good. That's a great job of saving the car. Gabriel Wood exiting pit lane, getting on to the backstretch, merging up on track now.
And Will Davis is pitting. Will Davis is pitting to try and cover him. He doesn't want Wood to take a lead away from him that way.
Well, Wood's coming around now. He's going to hit the start-finish line. Got to make that trip all the way around the track as Will Davis still trying to bring the car down into his stall. He's not there yet.
But this isn't halfway through the stage yet. They've still got a long way to go to get to the checker.
Wood now going into turn 3.
Sexton coming in, Clewell coming in, Eisenhower, Galgan.
Here comes Gabriel Wood across the line.
Will Davis, Sexton in turns 1 and 2. But it looks like pitting just that lap earlier is going to give Gabe Wood the lead.
He's going to fly right by him.
Well, I guess I was 2 laps earlier, but now Davis has 2 laps fresher tyres.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're about to see if 2 laps makes that big of a difference. Will's got a lot of time to make it there. It's about 1.4 seconds back.
Galgan and Eisenhower having a race off of pit road. Galgan's going to win it. Whoa! Well, I don't know about that. I think Galgan actually clipped the inside wall as they were exiting the pits. So Galgan's still in front of Eisenhower, but maybe not with a pretty car.
Okay, Will Davis is starting to close the gap, Sam. He's got it down to just about a second now.
So Gabe Wood was wondering how he would lose tonight's race. Well, it could be by Will Davis having slightly fresher tyres at the end. Meanwhile, Gary Sexton, the league organiser who had such a good run tonight, he has retired from the race.
Gary, of course, not running for the points, but a shame to see him go. Close moment here between Wood and Kyle Kammer as he gets through. Kammer not in for his stop yet. A lot of drivers still haven't taken their stop. Your top 6 still needing to come in, or is it the top 5? Top 6. Josh Bonwell's in. Gabriel Wood there getting under the 15. Martin going by.
Yeah, Jeff Martin currently running second right now. Actually, in front of Gabe Wood right now is Eric Stanford, who's coming into the pits. So Wood and Davis just race their way back onto the lead lap as Stanford comes into the pits. That will move Jeff Martin to the lead. Jeff Martin having Kyle Kammer behind him. Kammer still yet to pit, I don't believe. So all of these cars obviously hoping for a caution still. A caution right now for them, ideally.
Well, Jeff Martin is in the lead of this race. And how long is that going to be for? Well, it's up to him at this point. I mean, he could probably still get about another 15 to 17 laps if he wants to stay on track with those tires.
Here comes Davis. Davis looking underneath Gabe Wood for what could potentially be for the win of this race. 2 drivers very hungry to get their first win of the season. But each time that Davis mounts the challenge and comes up short, that's going to burn a little bit of 2 laps newer rubber off of those good years.
John Theodore is peeled off. He's coming in. That leaves Jeff Martin, Kyle Kammer, and Joe Johnson.
Yeah, and of course these drivers really hoping for a caution right now because there's only about 6 or 7 cars actually on the lead lap at this moment that they'd have to compete with for the end. As Kyle Kammer comes into the pits. The other advantage to this strategy, Sean, is that, well, hold on a moment. Let's see. Davis is making a move on Wood. Once again, he's going to try and throw it on the inside in turn 3. Wood can't afford to let him have that position. He's got to fight back.
Yeah, crosses him over all the way down to the apron, looking for some speed.
This is only going to work if he really throws in turn 1, but I'm worried that could hurt Wood on the exit turn 2. It's just going to be another crossover. Davis going to come down low, but now Wood has that desired high line. I have a feeling that's where he wants to be.
I just cross him over again here if he has to.
He has to. I mean, he cannot afford to have Davis pull away from him on those newer tires.
And Davis didn't leave the door open there for him immediately down the tri-oval, but then opens us up as they get into turn 1. Oh, boy, these guys are giving us a race.
Side by side down the back straight, not for the lead yet. Joe Johnson has yet to pit. Oh boy, Davis had to turn to the right a little bit or else he would have gone down into the side of Wood. And these two have got to be a bit careful about the other drivers behind them who could run them down on rubber that's not being used up, battling each other.
Got some information on Gary Sexton, and fortunately life got in the way of racing. He had to get away from the computer. Jeff Martin has left us. He has gotten that car behind the wall. A little bit of attrition settling here.
Yeah, that's a pity. Martin was having a good comeback after his troubles earlier on.
Well, we wish Gary and the family well. Understand they're not all feeling too well, so really sucks to get sick during the middle of the summer.
Man, Davis and Wood running side by side still about 5 laps later, and Wood almost sliding up into Davis. But I've got to imagine Wood's, even though Davis has won this battle, Wood's accomplished something here. He's forced Davis to burn some of the good rubber off of his tyres. Unfortunately, of course, the flip side to that is Wood's tyres aren't as good as they were before either. Joe Johnson still leading this race by 14 seconds. He has to pit.
I know, and I was just about to bring some attention to the leader because we haven't talked about it much. There's the number 18 Toyota, the Dirty Air Studios Toyota. Joe Johnson in the lead of this race, Sam. He's, working on 39 laps on those tires and fuel right now. He could probably still run it out for another 16, 18 laps. Be pushing it close to the fuel window, but Sam, the problem is there's 24 laps remaining in the race now across the stripe.
Yeah, the other problem is he's so far off the pace that we've already gotten up to 10 cars back on the lead lap, and that battle for 11th right behind our race leader Joe Johnson between Mark Clewell and Stephen Parks. They're about to race their way back onto the lead lap. Now you see, I mean, that's not even new tyres on Clewell and Parks anymore. That's just newer tyres, and yet they're just able to dispose of Johnson. So, with all the attrition from some of our top drivers in this race, Gary Sexton and Jeff Martin recently, that means that the battle we've been watching between Trey Gelgan and Adam Heisenhower, two drivers who've been running back around, let's say, 7th, 8th, 9th positions, they're now battling for what could be third place at the end of this thing. Yeah, they are. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, for Galgan, that's to get on the podium tonight for Galgan. Are you kidding me? I'm sure that's going to have to feel like a victory. He has struggled mightily during this race. Find himself right now sitting in 4th place. Adam Eisenhower, another driver who's put in some great work tonight. He's up 10 spots, sitting here in 5th, and with a legitimate shot to finish with a podium. He's getting a run on Galgan now. Oh boy, squeeze. And Joe Johnson is into the pits. He's ran as far as he could as Eisenhower comes down on Galgan. Boy, Johnson would have not liked that if they brought the caution out right after he pitted.
And we didn't even talk about Bonwell. There goes Bonwell.
Bonwell looking for third on Adam Eisenhower. Eisenhower, despite winning Daytona, has only scored 2 top 5 finishes all season long. And even if he loses this battle to Bonwell, this could be another top 5 for him. So a solid performance so far, but still 20 laps to go to the end.
20 laps, did you say? 20 laps. Oh, no, Eisenhower in the wall. Uh-oh. Ouch. He smacked it hard, Sam.
Yeah, we've just seen this a lot, I feel, recently, Sean. That he's had good performances and kind of Gabe Wooded it towards the end.
Oh. That's a shame. He's still fast enough. He's still in front of Galgan.
Yeah, that being said, he's still holding on to 4th. I'm sure he would love to get a top 5 finish here tonight. It's going to be tough to do because right behind Galgan is Stanford.
Yeah, Wood starting to kind of lose touch. Just got Joe Johnson just came out from his stop, got in between now. Wood and Davis, that gap over a second and a half now, Sam.
Yeah, Joe Johnson, though, will, with those fresher tyres, he should unlap himself from Davis, which could cost the number 11 sometimes. See if Wood's able to capitalize on that, but even then, that will only be a couple of tenths. Stanford trying to look for 5th on Galgan. Remember, this is really a 3-way battle for 4th. If Stanford can find his way by Galgan, Eisenhower's not too far ahead in the damaged car.
And maybe Stanford was the sleeping giant in this race. Remember, he's got the meats. Sam, you don't get that joke, do you? You don't?
No, I do.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
I'm familiar with Arby's commercials. I used to get their 5 for 5 burgers. Put a lot of weight on doing college.
Stanford really digging here. My car looked a little free off of turn 4. Ooh, and Eisenhower now maybe starting to have a little bit of a connection issue there in front of him. I hope not.
Yeah, I think this is bad news for Eisenhower here because he's got nothing for Stanford, and just having to yield the position to him here in turns 3 and 4 could allow Galgan to close right back in.
I know it's only 1 lap, but Stanford's got 1 lap fresher tires and Josh Bonwell in front of him. And honestly, right now, Stanford's just a little bit faster than Bonwell. Not by much, but last time around, about 0.2 of a second faster than Bonwell. So this could be a run up to the podium here for Stanford now with 15 laps to go.
And Kyle Camo, also one of these drivers on slightly fresher tyres than those in front of him. He's right on Galgan's rear bumper for 6th place, and we've seen that Camo hasn't been shy about being aggressive during this race. He got right up on Galgan's rear bumper there in turn 4 and easily going to make a move through the dog leg up into 6th, which of course begs the question, Sean, of how the heck did they get a name of dog leg?
Bends like a dog's leg, I guess, kind of does. And honestly, I think the dog leg term started in golf. Not positive, but I'm thinking that's where it might have started. Or it started with the actual dog's leg. Take your pick. And Cameron fighting hard here. Still, Eisenhower struggling a little bit with his connection there, Sam. And I think that's really what's costing him these spots. There we go.
I think
Cameron gets by.
I think he does have a bit of a beat-up car and older tyres too, but unfortunate to see Ike drop back to 6th place there, considering the fact he could have came home with his 3rd top 5 finish of the season. Not going to happen today. Still a solid performance though right now, running in 6th place ahead of Galgan, who's been on the similar strategy as that number 86 car. Galgan that now has dropped back to 7th.
Well, Bonwell still holding on to that 3rd spot. Stanford, again, I said he was faster. It's just small gains though, really small gains. It's still a 2.5 seconds, and Stanford got to worry a little bit about Kyle Cameron, because Cameron really seems to have recovered here.
Yeah, I think Cameron was one of our late pitters here under that round of green flag stops, and he's really making the most of that fresh rub in the final 10 laps here.
Yeah,
I think he could get 3rd.
He's certainly about to take Eric Stanford down. Gonna try to anyway. 10 laps to go at the line. Yeah, I think maybe the top 2 are really in trouble here, because it seems like everybody's starting to gain on him here just a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, Gabe Wood was one of the first drivers to pit under green, and then Will Davis had to pit a couple of laps after that to kind of cover Wood's advantage off. It didn't work, we saw a great battle between those two as a result for a few laps long. But now, those two, they burned their equipment off so much racing so hard that Gabe Wood definitely runs the risk of losing positions to Bonwell, maybe even Stanford, and Cam at the end of the race. I have a feeling Will Davis could be safe. Yeah, here we go, about 4th easily. Oh, he got underneath him easily. Can he close it? Seal the deal.
I wanted to say that Cameron really needs to get this done. Get to work on trying to catch Josh Bonwell. He just can't get this. It was hard getting to Stanford. It's been even harder to try and finally clear him. It looks like he has. Now he can get to work on trying to go catch Bonwell here for the final podium spot.
Will Davis leading the race. He's running 0.2 a lap faster than Gabe Wood. Wood running 0.2 a lap slower than Bonwell. Bonwell could run out of time though to catch Wood. I have a feeling Bonwell's got to be a lot more concerned with the car behind him, Kyle Kemmer. Now, the previous lap wasn't representative because Kemmer lost a lot of time battling Stanford, but Kemmer has been running Bonwell down at 3, 4, maybe even 0.5 a lap.
It's the second. I mean, it could be done. Bonwell certainly looking in his mirror, probably checking his relative here, maybe getting a little hot around the collar. 6 laps to go. Camera continues to close.
Yeah, you also got a bit of a look at a battle going on for 6th back there between Adam Eisenhower and Trey Galgan. They're side by side down in turn 1 and 2 right now for that 6th position.
I'm suggesting they both buy thank you cards for each other at the end of this race. They've spent a lot of time racing together here on this track tonight.
Just like that, less than 5 laps left to go. Davis came across the line that time by.
Oof. And here comes Kyle Kammer. He's got it down to 0.7. Bonwell just hanging on for dear life here. The yellow freight Mustang. He's got that Mustang galloping. I don't know if it's going to be enough. 4 laps to go here, Sam.
Two-way battle for 6 has now turned into a 3-way battle. Galgan been trying for quite a while to work his way around Adam Eisenhower has allowed John Theodore to run them both down. Theodore much stronger getting into the turn than Eisenhower as Galgan has finally broken free in 6th place, and it looks like Theodore got a little loose on the exit there.
Yeah, he did. It got scary. He's lucky that car didn't snap on him. Here comes Cameron in the crosshairs.
Yeah, good battle for ninths going on in the closing stages too between Ray Rich and Mark Gladwell. But let's keep an eye on this because with 2 laps left to go, things are about to get spicy for third.
Yeah, I don't think anything is going to change up at 1 and 2. The podium, though, is at stake. Cameron with a great run. He's got to keep the car rolling at speed here, right in the center of the turn. Going to chase him down the backstretch. Here we go, Sam.
There's 1.5 laps left to go for these guys. Just 1 lap left to go for our leaders. Will Davis take the white flag?
They're catching wood at the white flag here. Watch out. Oh, Bonwell up the track. Cameron on the move.
In 10 starts this season, Will Davis has brought home 7 top 10 finishes. He's brought home 3 top 5 finishes. A win has eluded him. He got very close at Pocono when 3 cars tangled coming down to the stripe. He wasn't the one that rolled across it first. So tonight he is. Will Davis wins Kentucky.
Wood's going to hang on for second, and here comes Kyle Cameron. Will get the podium away from Josh Bonwell. What a fight. What a late race charge there by Cameron.
And not a single caution for an incident all race long. I have a feeling that's the first for these guys in the AdPro 360 Challenger Series. So some great racing out there tonight. And we'll be back with full race rundown as well as drive interviews from some of the drivers you saw competing out there on track tonight. We're about to watch Will Davis celebrate here on the front straight at Kentucky. Stay tuned to GSRC. We'll be back in a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Kentucky Speedway, where we just witnessed 132 laps of clean green racing here at the Dirty Air Studios 200. And at the end of the day, it was Will Davis taking home his first win of the season to lock himself into the playoffs. Gabe Wood, once again, will have to wait another week. A solid second place finish, although I'm sure he's heard those words plenty of times before during the season. Kyle Kammer, very interesting race for him out there. Starting on pole position, getting involved in a couple of minor incidents, but able to bring home the bronze medal ahead of Josh Bonwell and Eric Stanford rounding up the top 5. Trey Gelgon rebounded from an early incident to finish 6th ahead of John Theodore. Adam Eisenhower was running up in the top 5 in the closing stages, got a little piece of a wall that could have contributed to him dropping back to 8th there by the time of the checkered flag, ahead of Mark Lowell and Ray Richer rounding up the top 10.
All right, Sam, and then we'll go back to 11th place with Stephen Parks finishing on the lead lap. Joe Johnson going to be the last car to do it there in 12th. Robert McFarland, a great job actually staying in this race. Trouble very early on. Hangs in there and does finish the race there in 13th. 14th, going to go to Jeff Martin. 15th to Gary Sexton. Gerald Campbell with a 16th place run. Michael D'Amico, 17th. 18th to Andrew Payne. Scott Seaman, 19th. Donald Stewart, 20th. Again, Payne, Seaman, and Stewart were not did not start the race, Sam.
One driver who did start the race and finished the race and did it in position number 1 when it was all said and done was Will Davis. Will, congratulations on your win and locking yourselves into the playoffs.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a long road coming, it seems like. It's been a hell of a year. A lot of seconds, a lot of thirds. And I finally got a good break and came through with a W, obviously.
Did you think Kentucky was a track you'd be able to do that? Did you have this circled on your calendar at all?
Not really. I practiced a good bit here this week, and I felt pretty good about it coming into it. I just knew I had to stay out of trouble. Obviously, have some good clean pit stops, and hopefully I'd be there at the end. And really, it all worked out.
Now, you were battling Gabe Wood at the end of a race there. You two were going at it hammer and tons after you both made your green flag pit stops. I assume you knew right then and there that was the battle for the win.
Yeah, I was hoping so. You never know. There might be a late caution, or I've been in some situations where stuff happens. So I was hoping it would stay green and me and Gabe could race it out. And it all worked out that way, and some hard-fought racing for that lead, and Gabe did a hell of a job. We stayed clean, and it was a lot of fun.
Does this win change the approach you're going to take to the last few races before the playoffs?
I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I mean, it definitely gives me a little stress relief. I don't have to push quite as hard. But no, I don't want to change a whole lot because that's what got me here today. So just keep on trucking, trying to keep my nose clean and stay out of trouble. And, hope for the best.
All right. Well, congratulations on your win, Will. Thanks for coming to talk to us. And we look forward to seeing you, I believe, 3 weeks' time. Our next race is going to be at New Hampshire. Yeah,
10-4. I'll give a shout-out to all my teammates and everybody that's watching tonight. I know we got quite a few fans watching. So I appreciate that and appreciate y'all putting on a hell of a show.
And that was our race winner, Will Davis. Sean, you called up with the driver who finished right behind him, Gabe Wood. Go ahead, Sean.
Gabe, it was a big night for the state of Georgia. You two go 1-2, you and Will. But, man, we were debating in the break before coming back to you guys. What would you have done different to try and get the win tonight?
Practice more in my long run.
Oh, come on.
No, I mean, I had Will and I had Gary. If Gary didn't have to leave, I would have finished third tonight. So I was really bad on the long run. it didn't show it by winning the first 2 stages flag to flag, but I would get out to a lead, and then Will and Gary would kind of catch me up, but then they couldn't get past me. They couldn't even get side by side because of how the track is. And I knew my only opportunity, especially after Will beat me off of pit road, was to push hard to try and get the lead. That didn't work out, and I ended up destroying my tires there. And I pitted a couple laps early. Was able to get in front of him, but unfortunately the tire was, between stickers and 3-lap-old scuffs, it's like a second difference.
Okay.
And then once that happens, everything pretty much plateaus. The car is good. It stays about 32 seconds a lap compared to 30.9 or 30.1 where we were qualifying at. So I knew as soon as I came off pit road, it's like, I got to keep him behind me. And that was kind of the desperation of that side-by-side battle we had for what was it, about 10 laps. All
right, now let me play devil's advocate here. What if you had stayed out a little bit longer and didn't get those tires too soon? Do you think you might have had something there at the end? I don't know. It did seem like there at the very end you were falling off pretty hard because Cameron Bonwell gave you quite a run there over the last couple laps.
Yeah, I thought I was just going to be able to cruise to a second place, and then I started sweating more. So it's like, I really hope I didn't screw myself out of a top 5 now. Please don't let that happen. But I don't know. Maybe. I always run that through my head. Like, I've done it at Michigan, and it's always worked to a point. But by the time you catch up to somebody, because in the back of your head, you see that gap and you see it coming down, but it's like, is it coming down fast enough? Is it coming down fast enough? How long are these tires going to last? And I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have. I don't know. Sean, you call me dumb, Sean? Huh?
No, and I'm not second guessing your strategy either. Remember, I was just playing devil's advocate.
I am.
All right, so listen, you get a little bit of time off to recover from this, and listen, the arrow is pointing up for you. Okay, the win is coming. It's coming. You've got 4 more rounds to get one here before the playoffs. I have a feeling, okay? So just hang in there, man.
Might be able to get one at the road courses or something. Or I might just, continue my trend and go winless. Didn't Matt Kenseth win the championship on like 1 win one year?
I know Terry Labonte won one without winning a race, so you're in good company there.
Woo!
All right, Gabe, anybody you'd like to thank real quick?
I'd like to thank you guys, for putting on a good broadcast. Michael Snow for giving me a place to race here at Snow Motorsports. I want to thank the guys at 4x4 Lodge. Let me if I can read my own sponsor here. The Lone Squatch Off-Road Club. It's been a while since I've actually been able to mention them. So I want to thank them for hopping on board. I want to thank everybody in ARCA, and do want to send a shout out. I know he's not listening, but if you guys could say a few prayers. Terry Strange he's a crew chief or crew member for James Hilton's team who was driving them back from Talladega whenever they got in the accident that actually killed James Hilton.
Yeah.
So he's actually planning. He was driving that car and he got hurt pretty badly, but his goal is to be walking by the end of the year, and it seems like he's doing very well to accomplish that goal. So. I just found that out a couple minutes ago, so I'd like to send a shout-out to him and everybody at Hilton Motorsports.
Well, we'll echo that sentiment for sure, Gabe, and we'll see you in a few weeks, buddy. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, now Sam is caught up with the man who was charging there at the end, fighting with Josh Bonwell, Kyle Kammer.
Yeah, Kyle, first off, congratulations on the 3rd place finish.
Yeah, thanks. The box crash Aegis Ford Mustang was pretty good tonight.
I've got to imagine you're kicking yourself a little bit from that pit stop you had under the second caution.
Yeah, it makes 3rd place feel a little bit disappointing. It makes you think, what might have been. Once that happened, the strategy kind of changed. The start of that last segment, I was really saving tires and planning on going for a 2-tire stop if we got a caution, just to try to play track position. And when that didn't happen, we had no yellows. I just waited too long to make a move.
Early on in the race, we saw you involved in a couple of door-to-door incidents where it looked like, you know, you came down a little bit on the car on the inside of you. Both incidents looked eerily similar. What was going on there?
Just not realizing that the guys were going to run a little bit higher. When I go below somebody at Kentucky, I go all the way down to the white line, and I was sort of expecting them to do the same thing. So it just kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
Well, the good news is it looked like all your cars were able to keep pointing straight. I mean, at the end of the day, not a single caution for an incident, which is very impressive from you drivers out there. And, hey, commiserations that, you know, the things didn't work out in your favor. But, man, you put on some great racing out there. And we're very thankful that you came here tonight and, you know, put on a good show for the fans.
Yeah, had a great time. Congratulations to Will getting the victory. He was really fast at the beginning of the run, really fast at the end of the run, and you know, in the middle, I think we were pretty even. So it would have been, I think it would have been really interesting if we hadn't screwed up that pit stop to get me and Gabe and Will, and you know, I know Gary got some issues. I mean, if we could have had the four of us together at the end, I think it would have been real exciting.
All right, well, we got a couple of weeks off before the Challenger Series goes to New Hampshire, and we'll let you go and rest up. Congratulations again on a solid finish here tonight, Kyle. Hopefully we'll see you in Victory Lane in this series before too long.
Hey, we're going to try, buddy.
All right, that was Kyle Kemmer. I believe we've got one more driver left in.
We do.
Here, Sean.
Yeah, we've got a driver that was in that mix there for the podium. First question for you, Josh. We're going to go through this pretty quick. How much fun was that? Josh, can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, 10-4.
There's Josh. Josh, how much fun was that, bud?
Man, that was a blast out there tonight.
Boy, the podium, it was right there for you. Right there for you. How tough was it racing with Kyle Cameron? You did a lot of it tonight.
Yeah, he was doing real good out there. I was just trying to gain as much ground as I could over that last green flag pit stop there, and I thought we were going to have a chance at running at least Gabe down, but the tires gave out there at the end. And that was that.
You know, it seemed like where you were struggling the most tonight was in the middle of the run, and the car would come back to you towards the end of a run. I don't think anybody expected the long green flag runs tonight, and maybe that got the best of you there in the end, huh?
Yeah, I think we were all expecting a caution there around the pit stop time, and it didn't come.
Well, hey, awful fun watching you get around the track tonight. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, my team, Turn 4 Racing, and SSCA, and Gary Sexton for putting this on, and you guys over at GSRC for putting on a great show for us all, and my mom and my girlfriend for supporting me.
Josh, thanks a lot for taking a moment with us. We will see you in a few weeks. And that is Josh Bonwell. Sam, time to wrap this up and put a nice pretty bow on it.
Absolutely. But before we head out tonight, we got a few people we'd like to thank ourselves. We would like to thank the Simulated Stock Car Association and the AdPro 360 Challenger Series for coming out here tonight and putting on a very nice race out there tonight. Once again, only 2 cautions, both to finisher stages. AdPro 360 is an advertising agency that specializes in digital and social media marketing. For more information, go to adproresults.com. We would also like to thank all of the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts. There you can see them listed on your screen. Additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde who provide us with our music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Joe and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also on social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel, and Instagram at GSRC_Gram. We also have the upcoming races for our other series listed on your screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.